Social anxiety is really painful all year round. But during the holidays, this can be really heightened because there are just so many more gatherings, work parties, family events that you feel obligated to go to. And if you have full blown social anxiety, you might use the coping tool of avoidance, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And then when the holidays hit, you can't use that avoidance. So your social anxiety might just go through the roof. And for a lot of people, even people who don't qualify with a full diagnosis of social anxiety, the holidays can be really anxiety provoking because of the number and type of social events. So I'm going to give the differentiation between the two here, but my tips and techniques and ways to think about this, I think will be helpful either way. So, to qualify for a diagnosis of social anxiety, and really you can't diagnose via a YouTube video, but just to give you a sense of what that would mean, somebody with social anxiety disorder, and I'm actually just going to read a couple of things right out of the DSM 5 here because I think that will just be the easiest. But somebody with social anxiety disorder has a marked and persistent fear of one or more social situations in which the individual feels exposed to scrutiny, fears that they're going to act in a way that's going to be judged, and a fear that their anxiety symptoms are going to be noticed and seen. Social situations are either avoided, as I mentioned, or they're kind of endured with enormous fear and anxiety, and the symptoms have persisted for more than 6 months. So this is different than somebody who feels really awkward going to a work event with their partner. I'd say most of us feel a little bit awkward going to social events with our partners, or somebody who feels uncomfortable meeting their new boyfriend or girlfriend's family, or even somebody who knows, like, oh, every time I see that uncle or those cousins, like, it's just so unpleasant. I just get peppered with questions. So, a common element under those situations that make most of us feel anxious is this feeling that we don't quite fit in or that we're going to be judged. When you are going somewhere where you feel like you're kind of different than the rest of the people, you won't be understood. And that element is pervasively persistent and around. I mean, it's around every situation for somebody who has full social anxiety. So during the holidays, I want to talk about 5 reasons that our anxiety around social situations can go through the roof. And as I said, this applies to both situations. So number 1 is judgment. We end up during the holidays being in a lot of social situations where we are worried about getting judged. And that is kind of one of the real cores around social anxiety. But let's say you're going to a work party. You don't usually socialize with a lot of your coworkers. So how is that going to go? How are people going to view you? You really worry about the judgment. Or, I give the example of meeting a romantic partner's family. You worry about how you're going to be judged, right? Normal, but this happens a lot around the holidays. Then the second thing that comes up around the holidays is comparisonitis. For whatever reason, the holidays really bring this out in us, like, oof, I should be married by this point in my life. Ooh, look, she has kids. I wish I had kids. Or, wow, look at that person. They make so much money. They can go on a holiday this New Year's and spend a lot of money. And I wish I could do that and I can't do it. And oh, there's something wrong with me. So I did just put out a couple of videos on comparisonitis that I think will be really helpful for you if you do this a lot. But again, that is highlighted during the holidays. And another reason comparisonitis goes way up is that we get together usually with a larger group of family. So maybe cousins we haven't seen for a while, or siblings or whatever, and we're comparing ourselves to them and what's their standing in the family, what's their standing in society. Oof, all of that. It's definitely a waste of time, but it's hard not to do, but it causes us a lot of pain, so it's worth getting over. Okay, just a plug for looking into that piece. Okay, number 3 reason that holidays can be tough around social situations is there's a lot of small talk. Now, if you're an extrovert, you might love small talk. You might not even think it's small talk. But you know what? I really don't like small talk. I'm not like a total introvert. I'm kind of like I have an introverted side and an extroverted. I'm kind of in the middle, but I like to have sort of meaningful conversations with somebody, and I can't stand like repeating myself over and over. So updating people if I haven't seen them in a while, of, oh, this is what that kind of small talk drives me nuts. And I think for a lot of people who feel anxious around the holidays, they might be a little bit more introverted, but you'll know what I mean if you are somebody who really dislikes the small talk element around the holidays. All right, the fourth reason, this one's really unfortunate, but so many people worry about how they look. And then the holidays, you go out, there's all sorts of food, alcohol. If you're worried about your diet, your figure, you're this, you're that, you're worried about if people are judging you, if you gained weight since last year, or you lost too much weight, or you don't have the muscles you should have, whatever it is. We have these like just bizarre body image issues that I just wish, as a society, I wish we didn't have these. Again, I just think this is like so much unnecessary pain, but it is such a norm. Oh, yes. So I'm just sort of laughing because I'm filming this with like a little Band-Aid on my neck. Now, you may or may not have noticed I was wearing that Band-Aid, right? But if I went out to a social event, I'd be like kind of a little like, I'm wearing a Band-Aid. Now, if you see somebody at a social event and they got a Band-Aid on their neck, you might be like, wonder what happened to them. Hope it's okay. But you're not going to think too much about it. But if you're socially anxious and you have to go to an event and you got a Band-Aid on your neck, you're not going to be able to get your mind off of it. You're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, they're not asking me. Maybe they want to ask me. Maybe I should just tell. I should just right away tell them what happened. But maybe I shouldn't. And maybe they don't notice, but maybe they do. Like, all of that. And who cares? You have a Band-Aid on your neck. But I know it's hard to get there, and I have lived many decades. So I've had time to get over some of these things and to have to go to social events or film videos with things worse than Band-Aids on my neck. But this intense worry about how we look, how we're perceived, how we're judged. Really, if we could just all feel like we're okay as we are, the world would be so much of a nicer place, right? These things, we learn them early. We learn about worrying about people's judgment when it is kind of crucial to our existence, right? When we're very, very little, we don't have that many resources. When we're older, it really doesn't matter as much. So healing some of that, some of those self-esteem issues, really important. And no matter what kind of social anxiety you have, there's some kind of negative core belief under it. So I do have a free PDF, Transform Your Negative Core Beliefs. The link to it will be in the description to this video. Very useful. It's super useful. I hear back from people all the time, but it helps you identify what that belief is, gives you some ideas on really practical exercises to turn it around. Alrighty, so the last reason we get really anxious around the holidays is all those family events and all the family stuff that comes with it, those family dynamics, the judgments. Families are so much willing to like come out and judge somebody in a way that they probably wouldn't do to somebody's face who wasn't in their family, right? But oof, those things can be so invasive. And if we're having those self-esteem problems, we're having some enmeshment problems, we probably don't have an easy way to set boundaries. Setting boundaries for many of us makes us anxious. And you might be heading into a family event where you're thinking, I really got to set boundaries this time, but that increases your anxiety. So again, becoming more comfortable. You get to have feelings, you get to have needs and desires, you get to set boundaries. So 3 quick tips that will help you with your anxiety this holiday season. Number 1 is to label your anxious thoughts as anxiety. This is like so important. It sounds like maybe it really isn't that big a deal, but it's really helpful. I am having anxious thoughts about how I look. I'm having anxious thoughts about the Band-Aid on my neck. I'm having anxious thoughts about setting a boundary with Uncle Joe. This is anxiety. Label the thought and you can look at it. It helps you separate, not be totally in your thoughts, not be believing all your thoughts. So it separates. Tip number 2 is to use physiologically calming techniques, diaphragmatic breathing, walks. Be kind to yourself physically. There are simple tricks for shifting our physiology. Like imagine petting a puppy, if you like puppies. But if you imagine petting a puppy and you really close your eyes, you could try it right now, really picture it. what the puppy feels like. See what feeling comes up in you? And probably your heart rate drops, your body calms down. When we're thinking anxious things, our adrenaline is spiking, our cortisol is spiking. So we have to be aware of this link, the immediate link between your thought and your body. And if you can't change your thoughts, change how your body is functioning. Number 3, recognize that social anxiety has a very inward focus. With social anxiety, we are stuck in the me loop. I'm blah, 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 blah. What are they going to think of me? Blah, 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 blah. Now, people sometimes hear that and they think, oh, you're saying I'm selfish. No, I'm saying your brain is stuck in a very painful place. The me loop is very, very painful. That overly focused internal, whatever, lens simply escalates our anxiety higher and higher and higher. If we can shift it and be like curious about somebody else, our anxiety goes down. Listening, like really mindfully listening, not listening like, oh, I'm going to listen because I don't want to have to talk. So I'm going to go talk to that person who talks a lot, and then I just have to sit there and nod, and I don't have to say anything. Well, you're not really listening. But mindfully listening, like really in the moment, paying attention to what somebody's saying and how they're saying it, it lowers our physiological response. It's actually a calming thing. So if you're going to a Christmas party with a friend and you don't know anybody there, or you're going with, something like to a work event with your partner or friend and you won't know anybody, make it a goal. I'm going to find 1 or 2 people and ask them about themselves and really focus on who they are. What's this person's deal? What's their background? It shifts it. It takes that away. And this me loop, our brains get wired in a particular way. So with social anxiety, your brain is just wired to do that automatically in a place of fear. So if you do download that PDF I mentioned, you'll also be invited to a free webinar. And the webinar is about how, over time, you can rewire your brain so it gets out of those loops. So I truly wish I could infuse you with a feeling that you are okay exactly as you are. Really and truly you are. And I hope this video gave you a little bit of guidance, a little bit of hope that you can get there. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Any questions? Let me know. And if you have a specific example you'd like me to address in a video, please leave it in the comments. And I wish you a joyous holiday season and a really good attitude and energy and taking time for yourself, taking time for self-care. Let yourself retreat once in a while. All right. I'll see you soon.